Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Roots podcast. So, today I'm quite excited because I think we're going to talk about a topic that I don't see a lot of people talk about. I mean, let me rephrase that. A lot of people talk about goal setting, but not a lot of people talk about intention setting in the way that I am going to address it. And how intention setting is actually much more powerful than goal setting. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast episode, you probably have your own business. And so goal setting is probably part of your weekly, monthly, quarterly life, right? Especially when it's January and you're like, what are my goals for the year? What are my goals for the month? And usually when we talk about goals in business, it's financial goals because businesses are successful if they make profits, right? Otherwise, you have an NGO, and that's also awesome to have an NGO, but it's just the purpose is different. And so quite often our goals are focused on the money that we are going to make. What if instead of setting goals for yourself and for your business, you actually started setting intentions? Because intentions are actually much more powerful. And that is what I am going to invite you to explore with me today and maybe to start using in your business. So, what is the difference between a goal and an intention? Well, if you want to set a goal for yourself, maybe it is going to look like, I want to write a new book, or I want to make 500K next year, or I want to have 5 new clients this month. These are goals. They're quantifiable, measurable. Maybe you have learned the smart way of setting goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time related. So goals are usually made like they have these 5 elements inside of them. Whereas your intention is completely different. Because for an intention, you would say, instead of my goal is to write a book, you would say, I intend to express my creativity and wisdom to serve others with a book. Instead of saying, my goal is to make 500K next year, you're going to say, I intend to show up as my most authentic self and lead boldly. So maybe you can already hear that a goal is really focused on a destination, on a place that you want to reach. Whereas an intention is much more focused on the process, the unfolding, what you need to do inside of you, how you need to be, who you need to be, in order to actually have that goal just become a side effect. So your intention is always much more focused on yourself, your own evolution, whereas the goal is always focused on something that is outside of you that you're going to get. And the problem with that is that I believe it is putting the focus on the wrong place, because your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality. And so if you want something to happen in your life, if you want to have a certain kind of experience, like publishing a book or have a 500K year, if you put your focus on that external thing, you have less chances of actually having it happen in your life, because you're putting your focus on the wrong thing. And whatever you put your focus on grows. So if you put your focus on, I intend to show up as my most authentic self and lead boldly, if you repeat that every day and you focus on that intention every day, then that is what is going to grow. And having the 500K year is just going to be a side effect of that. Because your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality. So focus on your internal reality instead of focusing on the external reality. Quite often we think that quantum leaps happen from the outside in. The truth is that it happens from the inside out, like everything. I mean, I think I have said this on this podcast probably 1,000 times. So you probably know this by now. The other thing that I actually struggle with goals is that, of course, when I started my business, I was setting goals for myself all the time. I was very masculine. As you know, you've probably read my book, The Path of Femininity, and read all the stories. I was very much in my masculine, and goals are very masculine because they're focused on a destination, whereas an intention is much more feminine. It's focused on the process, the evolution, how you're going to be inside. So it's focused on you instead of focused on the outside and what you're going to get. And so what I always struggle with or have struggled with when I was setting goals for myself was that I would always feel lack from not being there already. If you have had your first 6-figure year in 2021, maybe you've hit 100, 150, 200K, and you want to reach 500K in 2022, then you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm not there yet. So I'm going to have to push and hustle and show up to get there. And so all the time when you're going to take action with that goal in mind, it's going to come from a place of, I'm not there yet, so I need to show up to be there. Do you see how it's not working? Because who you're being when you're taking action is making the whole difference. It is not so much about the actions that you're taking. It's about who you're being when you're taking these actions. That's why certain strategies work beautifully for certain people. But if someone else applies the strategies and the tactics, for them, it is not going to work because it's not about the strategies. It's about who you're being when you're doing these things, when you're sending out the email, when you're writing your social media post, when you're recording the reel. It's the energy that you're showing up with because we live in a world of energy. And I did a reel on that on Instagram a few weeks ago. People don't buy what you say. They don't buy what you write. They don't even read the sales page. They buy your energy. They buy the way you show up. They buy the inspiration that you're giving them. They buy the emotions that you're making them feel. They don't buy what you write or what you say. They buy how it's making them feel. And everyone is going to feel differently. Everyone's going to have a different emotional reaction to what you're saying. So it is very important actually to set intentions for your business rather than goals, because goals put you in that scarcity mindset and that I'm not there yet. And they put your focus on the outside instead of on the inside. But your outside is a reflection of your inside. So if you move and do things from a place of scarcity, you're just going to experience more lack and scarcity and frustration. And that was definitely what I had. I remember my first group program that I did. I really wanted to have 10 people, 10 women. It was a beautiful program that was called Unleash Your Inner Goddess. It was all about self-love and healing yourself and honoring your emotions and coming back to your intuition and really like awakening the goddess inside of you. And I did a beautiful 3-day masterclass. It was super fun. I loved it. I think I had about 100 women who signed up. And so I was like, okay, well, out of the 100, having 10 people sign up for my group program makes sense. It's possible, right? It's a high conversion rate, but it's possible. And I remember every day I was like, where are they coming? I need my 10. I only have 1. Okay, now I have 2. I need 8 more. I need 8 more. And I was just focused on what I didn't have yet and what I needed in order to reach my goal, instead of being focused on, I have 2. That is so awesome. I am so excited. These are beautiful women. It's going to be great. Da, 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 da. In the end, I had 4 and I felt frustrated. I felt in lack at the end. Well, because I spent the whole launch weeks, I think I had like 2-3 weeks of launching, in a lack mindset of I'm not at the 10 woman yet. And this is the amount of women that I want to work with and that I want to empower and that I want to heal. So yeah, I am sure that also happened to you. We all go through these phases of like learning to launch and learning to be detached from the outcome. And that is also like a very important element, is that when you focus on a goal, quite often you get attached to that goal. And when you are attached to something, you're actually preventing it from happening. Because when you're attached to something, like imagine there's like an energy channel that is going from your intention to its realization. And the energy is like moving around and doing all it can to reach its destination so that what you desire moves from the intention, the spiritual realm, to the reality, the physical realm, and really materializes. If you are attached to something, it's like you're putting your hand on that energy channel and blocking the energy from moving. If you could see me, I am like really closing the palm of my hand as if I was like grabbing a channel, a pipe or something really tightly because I'm attached to it. So you're blocking the energy from flowing and reaching its destination. When you're detached, when you're letting go of the pipe of energy, when you're letting go of that channel and you're just allowing the energy to go where it needs to be, then it's naturally reaching the right destination. So when you set an intention, because it's focused on the process, you're not attached to an outcome. You're just focused on evolving. You're just focused on showing up. And guess what? Your soul came here to evolve. Your soul came here to expand. Your soul didn't come here to like reach a specific destination at that time on that day and da 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 da. No, that is very ego driven. You're just here to evolve and experience and learn. And there's no good or bad. Whereas if you set a goal for yourself, it's like, if I don't get there, then I'm not good enough. I didn't do it. I didn't succeed. But your success is not connected to whether you reach goals or not. Your success is connected to whether you evolve or not. Because the purpose of life is to evolve, is to expand, is to experience. Think about it. Why did your soul incarnate? We were talking about that in one of my containers with one of my clients, and she was struggling with the definition of success. And so we really came down to, what is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to experience and grow and heal the wounds that we came here to heal and use our gifts for the highest good. In my first book, the Self-Healing Spiral, Path of Femininity is my second book. I share this beautiful story of like, it's a kind of metaphor of the incarnation process. And it's really this idea that we are like little clouds with a little backpack. And we go on the bus with our little backpack, and the bus is going to bring us to the school of life. And in our little backpack, we have tools so that we can succeed our school of life, but we also have lessons that we have chosen to learn. And so we're with our little backpack in the school bus, and we're talking with the other ones. And then we're having this conversation that could look like, hey, what do you have in your backpack? What are the lessons that you came here to learn? Oh, I have an opposite lesson. Maybe we could help each other. Okay, let's do that. Let's support each other. And then soul contracts are born. And so we are with our little backpack, and then the school bus goes really, really, really quickly down to the earth. And it goes so quickly that all the little clouds fall asleep. And then when the little clouds are born through the womb of a mother, they forget about their backpack. They forget about the soul contracts, but the backpack is still there. You're still carrying it. And that backpack is made of transgenerational wounds, personal wounds, lessons that you came here to learn in this lifetime, maybe lessons that you didn't learn in past lives that you want to like really work on this lifetime. And then all the gifts, all the strength, all the tools that you need in order to succeed. So I'm using the word succeed here on purpose, because what is success in this scenario? Success is then learning to love yourself, because that is one of the main lessons of this human life. Success is about growing and evolving towards healing yourself, towards sharing your gifts with the world. It's just about expansion. And so when you set an intention, such as, I intend to show up as my most authentic self and lead boldly, that is an expansion, that is an evolution compared to what you were before. It sets you up for success. Rather than a goal, which is very much, if I get there, I am successful. If I'm not there, even if I'm really close, well, I'm not successful. It's very limited. It's very ego-driven. Really puts you in that lack mindset. Okay, I sidetracked myself a little bit. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but if it came through, I guess some of you needed to hear this. So I want to share with you why intention is really, really powerful. There are actually like 5 elements, 5 reasons why intention is super powerful. And I'm going to take you through these. All right, you ready? So an intention is powerful because your intention is the signature of your energy. And as you know, we live in a world of energy. And depending on your intention, you're going to be really magnetic or not at all. Let's give you a concrete example. Before recording this podcast, I sat with myself and I asked myself, what is my intention with this episode? I always do that. And I was like, my intention with this episode is to share some of my experience, some of my wisdom, some of my realizations, so that people can be more in alignment with their soul in their business through intention setting, rather than staying in the lack and limit themselves with goals. That was my intention. And so you can probably feel that I'm talking from my heart. I'm passionate about this topic. I sidetrack and I say things that are flowing through me that I wasn't intending to talk about. I have like a few notes here on my little note app on my screen, but when you're really in that flow and talking from your heart, you become a channel for information. Source, spirit is working through you. And so I'm sure that some of you needed to hear this. Whereas if my intention was more focused on what I was going to get from it, looking more like a goal, for example, I want to sign 1 client thanks to this episode, for example, then I would have showed up in a way that is much more, I need to prove myself, I need to be selling, I need to be getting something from this episode. And if you show up with the energy of, I need to get something from you, well, you, my dear listener, you're going to feel that. You might not be aware of it, but your own energy field is going to feel that I am trying to feed myself off your energy by trying to have one of you work with me. And that feels icky, right? We hate to be sold to. So why are we doing it? Don't try to be like salesy if you hate to be sold to. Instead, serve, inspire, lead, and let people be their own sovereign self. They can make their own decisions. And even if you know that someone really needs to work with you and that you're going to change their lives and they say no, that is their decision. It is their life. And life will invite them to come back to you or to go and see someone else or put difficult experiences on your path so that you can understand that you need guidance or support or whatever it is. Life is the greatest teacher in the end. So who are we to decide for someone else and try to get someone sign up for our programs, send us the money? And so when you set an intention before doing an IG live, before sending an email, before recording a podcast, even before writing the pages of your next book, it's very important to have clarity on your intention, because it's the signature of your energy, and your energy is magnetic. So be very mindful of what your intention is in everything that you do. The second reason why intention is so powerful is because it aligns you with the unified field of the universe. It aligns you with the field of possibilities, and intention is a very powerful force of the universe. Because when you set an intention, you're saying to the universe, okay, this is who I am being now. This is what I desire. This is how I want to show up. And so the universe is then going to be perfect. Let me align to your intention, to your energy, to your signature, right? And so the universe is then sending you the right people, the right situation, so that you can show up that way. So your intention is making you work hand in hand with the universe. It sets you in the seat of the co-creator, whereas a goal is more control focused. The third reason why intentions are so powerful, it's because when you set an intention, you're moving from a place of, I believe I can do this. Think about it. When you say, I intend to show up as my most authentic self and lead boldly, well, in that sentence, there's really the energy of, I know I can do this. I believe I can do this. That's why I'm intending to do it. And when you believe in yourself, when you have faith, when you trust, when you know it's possible, again, you're like so magnetic. And you're moving from a place of fullness that is allowing it to unfold. Whereas if you set a goal, like I said, there's this energy of lack and not being sure if you can get there. That's why you're striving for it. It's because you're not there yet. And because your brain is focused, like the way our brains work is that it is going to create the future based on our past. So if in your past you haven't been there yet, your brain is then being like, okay, this is our goal, but that is something we have not experienced yet. So I'm not sure if we can do it, because in the past it hasn't happened. So let's try, but not convinced it's going to work. Whereas an intention is filled with self-belief, believing in yourself. And believing in yourself, that is one of the strongest forces of the universe and the strongest forces you have inside of you. I hope you feel how powerful this is and that you're like aligning with my passion to talk about it, and that you can really implement that in your life, because it is really life-changing. I truly believe it is life-changing. And it's really a whole other way of doing business and doing life. And it's the feminine way. It's the authentic, heart-centered, soul-centered way of doing business, really. All right. Fourth reason why your intention is much more powerful than goal setting. An intention always comes from the heart rather than the mind. Think about it again with our goals of 500K. I want to make 500K next year. That goal comes from your mind. You probably thought of, okay, I want to make 30K a month. And with 30K a month, then I can pay my taxes and I can pay for the house and for the kids and this project and my business coach and these things that I'm investing in. But also because we want to move and buy a new house, it would be nice to save 20K or 15K a month so that we can have a down payment for our next house. So then naturally that brings us from 30K to 50K a month. And because I'm going to take 2 months of holiday next year, well, then I'm at 500K. For example, like I'm just coming up with something here, but it's just to show you how a goal is very like mind focused. You think about it with your head. Whereas your intention, if you set an intention, and I wish you could see me right now, but this is a podcast without video, you'd be closing your eyes and go inside and really ask yourself, wait, what is my intention? What do I really desire? What is lighting a fire inside of me? Yeah, showing up like my most authentic self. Ooh, that feels juicy. Not caring about other people's judgments, loving myself so much that I'm just unapologetically myself. Oh, yeah, that feels good. And then lead boldly. That's a bit scary, but I know my soul wants that expansion. Yeah, that feels good. And so it's about feeling, and feeling is in your body. So it's very heart centered. And so there's this whole notion of self-love, heart-centered in an intention, and really connecting with your deepest desires. And when you connect with your deepest desires, you're always going to be much more aligned with your soul. And what happens when we live a soul-aligned life? Well, we experience abundance, we experience fulfillment, we experience bliss. Everything is much more easy, flowy, fun. Like life becomes fun and easy. Whereas the goal, it's going to be much more about hustling and doing everything to get there without really respecting what you desire or need, right? Because you set the goal, so you have to push and do everything you can to get there. Otherwise, you're not successful. And then you stop trusting yourself. And then you get in this whole spiral of actually not moving from a place of love. And so when you set an intention, it invites you to come back to your soul, to your desire. And as you know, your feminine energy is your desire energy. It's your vision. It's your intuition. It's that leading energy that you have inside of you. So again, like this is so much more powerful for the alignment that it is going to bring you to you, but also for the chances of your success. Because when something is aligned for you, the whole universe is conspiring to support you. The whole universe is there to support you because that's who you came here to be. And the last reason why an intention is much more powerful is that it is not time related. It is not attached to a certain outcome or how it's going to look, like needing to have the 500K by the end of the year. It is more focused on the process, how you show up. And because you are then detached, like I was saying earlier, then you can allow the energy to do its magic. You can allow divine timing to guide you. So I guess that now you're like convinced, maybe not, and that's fine. I'm not here to convince you. But I just want to share with you how much more powerful it is to set intentions rather than goals. And I know it's hard because our minds and our egos are like, no, but I really want to make that 500K or that 1 million. I want to have my first 7-figure year, or I want to work with that amount of clients. But I promise you that if you keep focusing on these smart, specific, measurable goals, you're not going to be satisfied at the end. Because these goals, usually we set them up, we define them because we think that we're going to feel a certain way or that we're going to get a certain thing from that goal. The truth is that you're going to feel, when you get there, you're going to feel the same way that you have felt all along during the whole journey. Your ego might make you think that once I'll have the 500K year, once I'll have the 7-figure business, I'm going to feel safe and abundant and successful. But if you have pushed and struggled to get there, once you're there, you're still going to feel like it's a struggle and you've pushed and hustled. You're not going to feel the fulfillment. And your ego is really trying to convince you otherwise. But if you talk or if you read to any person that actually has had that kind of success and abundance, they all say, oh, I thought I was going to feel different, but then I didn't. I still feel stressed. I still have self-doubt. I still wonder if I'm good enough, even though I thought that when I was going to have the 500K, I was going to finally feel awesome. And so give yourself the gift of dropping goal setting and moving towards intention setting. So how do you set intentions? Well, by going inside, by connecting with your heart and asking yourself, what do I desire? And if you actually desire to make that amount of money, then ask yourself, who do I need to be to make that goal just a simple side effect? How do I need to evolve to have that naturally fall into my lap? Because then you're going to be focused on your own evolution, on your own growth, on yourself, and on who you desire to be. And like I said, who you're being is a million times much more powerful than what you're doing. So save this episode, put a little star on it, send it to your friends, do something about it. Don't just let this information come in one ear and then leave through the other ear, because there is really a lot of magic and transformation that is waiting for you when you start to implement intention setting rather than goal setting. And if you've loved this episode, you can tag me on social media at Elie de Posson or with the Sacred Roots podcast on Instagram. And let me know, what was your biggest takeaway from this episode? What are you really going to remember and implement from learning this? And then I would love to know all the changes. I'd be really excited to see actually all the changes that it's going to do for you, because I know how really powerful this is. Don't just take my word for it. Experiment it. Never just take my word for it. Try things for yourself. Take them only if they resonate. Be your own sovereign being, and then make your own conclusions. This is my take on intention setting. Now go and experience it yourself. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I had so much fun sharing all that with you. Of course, you can always leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. We can now leave ratings on Spotify as well. And if you have loved this episode or love this podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your business partners, your peers, because I really believe that if we all rise up and bring each other up, that is how we are going to build the world we want to see and be in. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you or hear you or talk to you really soon.